Hello, it's me. Some of you all said you missed my voice and you would rather have me do demos, so hopefully this helps out. If you haven't yet, pull up Figma, get stuff out for notes, because today we're going to be diving into the basics of prototyping. So we're going to be learning about how to make things scroll, how to navigate between pages, how we can test run out our sites. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a wireframe. We're going to be linking a bunch of stuff, but we're going to be making a wireframe for a phone app. We can think about it like that. When you go to do the project coming up down the road, you might be wanting to take this knowledge and expand upon it and make it for a whole laptop. But for right now, we're just going to imagine we're making a kind of a stripped down, very simplified phone app. We need a few buttons. We need to jump to a few pages. And let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a frame. So the hotkey F will bring up the frame, or you can go click it up at the top. And let's do this. Let's design for your phone. Okay. So I unfortunately got a large Android, so I'm going to be rocking with that. So click on that. If you got an iPhone, go for an iPhone. And let's go and make 3 pages for today. We can label these home, store, and about if you want. So we got 3 pages. They're all the same type of phone. I'm going to go zoom in on that first one. And what we're going to do next is we're going to go and make a rectangle, hotkey R, or you can go up to the top. And we're going to make a rectangle, maybe make it, I don't know, 60 pixels tall by however wide. I'm going to make this guy a little darker just because I'm going to want some contrast eventually. And we're going to go take that rectangle, copy it, and make it our footer as well. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to grab another rectangle, maybe a lighter gray this time, and I'm going to make some cards. Like so. So we got a header, we got a footer, we got a couple cards in there. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go and make a vertical scroll. Yes, a vertical scroll. Some people try to do it for the first project. It's going to be pretty simple, but we're going to have to get into the prototyping phase of this program. So what we're going to do first is go take our frame. You can either click it on the side or click it over here. And we're going to go lengthen our frame. I'm going to grab my footer, bring it down for a little bit. I'm going to make a few extra cards because I'm like imagining, I don't know, I got a bunch of photos of products or something, and I want to kind of scroll through them. I'm going to tidy this up a little bit, maybe bring my footer up so it's all equally spaced. Bring my frame right up to the bottom of my footer. So we should have something like this. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and test run our prototype, which is going to be really basic. So let's go hit the play button up in the right corner. And if you had the right thing selected, the whole frame, it's going to pop up here on your phone. One thing to keep in mind, I'm going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to have like a random rectangle photograph overlay selected, and you're going to click prototype, and that's going to pop up instead. So really make sure that you're selecting whatever page you want to preview and not a random asset. Okay, so we can see that we got our phone here. We can scroll through it, but it's kind of a pain. We lose our header, so if we had like our logo and a drop-down menu or something, we wouldn't be able to see that. And then we scroll and scroll and scroll, and it takes forever to get to that footer. So let's go adjust that. Maybe we want our header and footer to always be on that screen. It's really easy to go and fix that. So I'm going to go click my header. I'm going to go over to the design, and then I'm going to go adjust those constraints. I want to make sure my header's at the top. Maybe center it up just to be safe. I'm going to do the same thing with my footer, but except I'm going to make sure it's at the bottom and centered. Okay, so we got that going, and then we're going to go and click not design, but we're going to switch over to the prototype mode. So in this, we can go and see we have some interactions. We'll get to that in a minute. We got scroll behavior. I'm going to go click on that and change it to fixed. I'm going to do that for the top and the bottom, that header and footer. And then I'm going to go select my whole frame and preview it. And now we got that header and footer where we can easily see them. They're stuck to the top and bottom, and we can scroll up and down. So hopefully that was pretty straightforward. We just get those constraints right, and then we go over and adjust that scroll behavior, and we have a now vertical scroll. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go and let's jump to the About page. So what we're going to do this one is the opposite. We're actually going to make a horizontal scroll. So I'm going to grab the rectangle again. I'm going to go and make some boxes. But first, maybe I'm going to go grab that header and footer just to figure out my basic proportions. Okay. Now I'm going to go make some boxes. I'm going to make a rough outline. And I'm thinking like these could be possible photographs. I'm going to kind of duplicate these out because I want them going scrolling to the left. This one is a little trickier. So it might take a couple tries, but I got my boxes moving out to the side. I'm going to go grab those and drag them out of the frame. If you notice, they started to move out of the frame on my About over here in my layers. Go grab them. I'm going to clean them up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go and make a frame selection, which kind of makes a mask around them. So I'm going to right click, frame selection. And now I'm going to grab that frame selection and drag it back into my phone. I can adjust it from there. If you don't drag it back into the phone, if you don't notice that it is inside that layer, you're going to have issues, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I have all these images going out to the thing, off to the side. But if I go click content, I can adjust that mask on the top. I can bring it in right to the sides of my phone. Now I'm going to go adjust things around. Everything you can still play with in here a little bit. I want to bring that in a little closer. Yeah, that's decent. Okay, so we got something like that going on. I'm going to grab that frame. I'm going to go over the prototyping. And this time, on scrolling, on that overflow, I'm going to click from no scroll to horizontal scroll. Okay? I'm going to click my whole frame. I'm going to hit play. And fingers crossed, it's going to work. And now I got a horizontal scroll. And hopefully we all are getting this, that we're making this wireframe that we can easily bring in photos or whatever and do the same thing. I'm just going to do this really quick with this classic cat. But we can do this with really any kind of file for the most part, and it should be compatible. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to go make some icons. So I'm going to go zoom out a hair for a second, get a workspace. We're actually going to work outside of one of our boards. So I'm going to grab my footer. We're going to use the footer. And what we're going to do is we're going to make some icons really quickly. We're going to use these icons down the road to go navigate through our website. So I'm going to make a little house maybe for our home. Now, yet again, hopefully this isn't getting redundant, but I could go and, bring in images. I could go make SVG files in Illustrator. Let's make a little house like so. It's kind of looking like an arrow. So I'm making a little tiny house icon. We're going to make a person icon. Yeah, the smokestack helps. And we're going to make a store icon. So I'm going to group these all together too. And let's try to keep these somewhat the same size. So this one I'm making a little rectangle. I'm making like a really quick dollar bill looking thing. Just as kind of a placeholder for my store. You could make a better store if you wanted to, but that's what I got going there. I'm going to make a quick little person as well. This is going to be for like our about section. I'm going to group my money together, my little store. There we go. Group my person together. So I'm going to go take my new assets that I kind of made. Well, I haven't made them as assets yet, but I'm going to go take them, bring them in, my new icons. Get everything kind of squared up, get them kind of evened out. Get them centered up on that bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take this bar. I'm going to square everything up really quick. I feel like some of these are still different sizes. They're kind of bugging me a little bit. So we get something like this. Once we got it all cleaned up, we're going to go scrub across the bar and those icons, and then we're going to right click and we're going to go create them as a component, which is the hotkey is Option Command K, If you're on a Mac, it's probably Alt Windows K. If you're on a PC, you can figure that out. I'm sorry. But either way, you can just right click and do that. But that's kind of a handy hotkey to kind of work with. And now we got this component here. And we have these different buttons in here. It's purple now. If I'm looking over my layers, you can see that I got these different groups. So I'm going to go click on the person, which looks kind of like a keyhole. I did not design that well. And I'm going to prototype this out. So I'm going to go to prototype. I'm going to go make a new interaction. And I hit that plus sign button. I can make a new interaction. So when I tap on this, I could make it do other things, but I want to tap on this. And then I want to go and switch it to navigate. And then I want it to go navigate to where? I want it to go navigate to the About section. And we can see a little link pops up right there. I'm going to click on the house. We could go, and there's a little plus sign that pops up. You could go click and drag to it. That's another way of doing this. But I kind of prefer to go through the steps. Because if I got everything labeled up right, it should work okay. So now we got these buttons going to the correct places, hopefully. I'm going to switch from my layers over on the left to assets, and we have that asset. So I'm going to go replace my footer with this asset that I made. So now that I do that, it's going to be on every page. It's going to be working fine. I don't have to go and copy it over. All those functions that I made through prototyping are all good to go. What I'm going to also do is just double check my one with the really long scroll on the home page. I need to go make that fixed probably again, just to be safe and make it have the constraint of being tight to the bottom and centered. Okay. So let's go try this out. I'm going to go click on home. I'm going to go test run this out. I'm going to hit play. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And we got that scrolling function still. I can go click on the little person. It takes me to my horizontal scrolls. I can go click on the money, and it takes me to a blank page. Okay, so let's go fix that last page. Let's figure out what we're going to do there. And that one, we're going to go and we're going to make an overlay. So we're going to make another asset down the road here in a second. I'm going to go back to layers. So I'm going to grab myself a header for a second. I'm going to make another kind of card just to kind of dummy out some space really quick. So if you want to dummy out a page, maybe something like this. Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do for this one is we're going to go make an overlay. So what I kind of want for this overlay, what I'm thinking is on my header, I'm going to make a little ellipse, and that's going to be kind of a placeholder for my logo. So I'm going to make that black. And what I want this ellipse to do is I want it, when I go and click on it, I want to have a little window pop up, this overlay, and I could have more content in there. Maybe I want to say like, thanks for coming to the site. There's a sale, 50% off, use this code. I don't know. I want some little window to pop up. So I'm going to make an overlay. I'm going to grab that header, bring it off for a second. We're going to build another asset like before. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make another window for my overlay. So let's go hit F to get our frame. I'm going to make another window, another page. But this one, I'm going to make it be smaller. It's not going to be the full one. I'm going to leave it overlay. So a little bit of a smaller one. Okay, so let's go and take that header. Let's grab everything and let's go right click it, make that component or use that hotkey. And now I have another component that I can work with. And I'm going to go into that component over here in layers, click my ellipse. I'm going to prototype out that ellipse with a new interaction. And this is kind of why I like to not always use the little buttons and do the linking. I actually like to use the interactions because if I go hit the plus sign, maybe this one is while. Now let's keep it while we're tapping, but we can see there's other versions of that interaction. Like I could hover over it and the window could pop up. It's probably not the best unless it's going to stay there for a little bit. Thinking about how we could use these in the future might be cool. But what I'm going to do is it's going to be on tap, and then we're going to have open overlay. Okay, and I want that overlay to be my overlay 1. So we got that link going there. We got some features that pop up with this overlay. So I have an overlay set up. We got that. It's instant. We could make it dissolve. We could play around with these different effects depending on how that overlay is positioned. So maybe I want to dissolve. Maybe I want it to, I don't know, bounce in. Can it bounce in? Yeah. I'm going to play around with that speed a little bit. So we can kind of fine tune this stuff. It's going to come in. Right now it's going to come in at the center of the page. That's where the overlay settings are. Let's go take this and put it at the top of the page. You know, we got these different auto selection areas that we could pick. You could also do a manual. And then we're going to do a couple other features to this. We're going to have close when you click outside. And we're going to go also add in a background color. So I'm going to go pick, I don't know, fill in this blue at 25%. Okay. So we got that overlay that pops up. I'm going to go check on my overlay here for a second. Going full screen with it. I'm going to put out some just really quick content on there. Do what you want to do. Throw a photo. Have fun with it. I'm just making another stupid looking person or keyhole looking thing. And then I want to put a little, box up in the corner for this next thing. Okay. So we got that overlay that goes and pops up. We have some stuff on there. Let's go to our home page. I'm going to click on our home page and hit play and see how this is working. So I'm going to go to the About section, looking clean. Going to go to that money. Oops, I forgot to put my component on all my pages. So now that we got that set up, I'm going to go to my assets like I did before and put that component on all those pages. Sorry about that, folks. So I'm putting my component, that new header, which we could label, on all the pages. Okay. Let's try this one more time. We're going to hit play. We got our home page selected. Now it's looking good. I can see that all my pages are working well. I click on that black button, the face pops up. And if I click around on the little face on that overlay, nothing happens. But if I click off of it, it goes away. So that's working pretty good. What I would probably do, just because, you know, users have errors, they don't know what you're thinking of all the time. let's go make this kind of dummy proof. So we're going to imagine that this rectangle up in the corner would actually be an X on it. I could just draw one really quick just to make this perfectly clear. Maybe this has a little X on it, so the person on the website checking it out would know that if you go and click on this button, this icon, I'm going to group them all together, that it's going to go and close our overlay. So let's do that. I'm going to click on that box. I got the X made. It's all grouped together. Let's go to interactions, on tap, close overlay. Let's try it out. So click on home or store, whatever you want. So that pops up. I click on it and it goes away. Cool. I think that works a lot better than, if you had a user come and they're clicking all over the place and they didn't know where to go. So just trying to make it foolproof, just so there's no pain points when we're going through this website. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense so far. We have the vertical scroll, we got the horizontal scroll, we got overlays happening, we linked up things. Let's talk about a few other things really, really quickly. Let's go to our store one more time. I'm going to get out of prototype mode for a second. I'm going to grab this box that I made right here, and maybe I wanted this box to go to, I don't know, YouTube or something. And I make an icon that looks somewhat like the YouTube icon. Kind of going from memory here. It's something like this, I think. Beautiful. I'm going to group that together. So maybe I actually wanted this to go to the person's, my store. I wanted it to go to YouTube. That doesn't make sense, but maybe I wanted a link to go and you can go watch a video or something there. Get more content. This would probably work better in my about section, but whatever. So it's really easy to also not only make links between pages that are in Figma, but also to make links that go out of Figma. So let's do that really quick. I'm going to click on that new little button I made. It's all grouped together. I'm going to go to prototype. I'm going to hit interaction. And this time, we can look through here. Hopefully you've been checking out other things. We can see that we could have scroll to a certain part of the page, but I'm going to go to open link. And then let's just go, I'm going to grab YouTube real quick. I'm going to paste that in there. I want it to just open in a new tab. Sounds beautiful. And let's test run this out. So go to store, hit play. Click on that button at the top just to see that kind of working in action again. I'm going to click on my YouTube link and bang, it pops up. Cool. So you can do links in there, make sure that you're being cool. They're school appropriate and all that goodness. So we've gone through quite a bit today. We can now see how we could rough out a website, but there's other cool functions that I was wanting to hit on before we get out today, okay? So when we're prototyping, we can also share a version of this just as a prototype, which is pretty interesting. You can go to share prototype. I would really recommend you taking a moment and downloading. There's a Figma mobile version, so you could copy this link, send it to yourself. If you have that Figma mobile version, you can open up this kind of really crude wireframe that we made and actually play around with it on your phone and make sure it all worked out. So that's kind of why we made it to the size of our phone. If you made it to a slightly different phone, it's going to be slightly scrunched or whatever. But, try out that Figma mobile version, copy a link, email it to yourself. You can try it out that way. So that's one way of doing stuff. There's another cool thing about this. If I shared this link with a friend, maybe you got a friend in class, you share it with them, you can watch how they navigated to it. So you could go back to Figma, your friend's already checked out the prototype, and you can watch like a recorded version of them walking through the website. So you can get feedback or kind of get a view of what, a user would do in this app. So that can help find any pain points, any weird moments where they didn't know how the actual interface worked, which could be pretty helpful. Okay, so we made a vertical, horizontal. We went and made some buttons that jump to other pages, overlay. We made a link that gets us out of Figma to YouTube. Hopefully that was enough for you all. Hopefully you're not too lost at the same time. Let's do this last thing. Can we go? We're going to hit share and go not view, but edit. Just so if I need to, I can check out the prototype, scoot a few things around, make some notes, and go and take that edited version or the ability to edit, hit copy, and upload that link so I can comment and edit and all that good things now. Okay, folks. Hopefully that was all making sense. I got office hours if you need me. See y'all later.